everyone, I'm Katina Whetstone from Delta Colorado Paranormal.
And I'm Cynthia Hammer, and I run the Colorado Missing Person Organization.
Welcome to our very first episode of The Missing.
Yeah, exciting.
So this is where we come together to talk a little more in depth about some cases that have kind of caught our attention, and a lot of questions have come up, and the community is also involved in wanting some answers. Disclaimer. We will be talking about things of sexual nature. We also will be talking about murder, of course. And
it's all speculations.
And we have a lot of speculation. So a lot of things that we're going to talk about are theory instead of facts. So you can quote us for theory, but can't quote us as we're quoting others. Okay?
Correct.
All right. So today's case is Jennifer and Abby Blagg, and they came up missing in November of 2001 from Junction, Colorado, which is really close to home for us. It's something that's baffled the community because just short summary of the history there. Jennifer Blagg was found, and the daughter, Abby, 6 years old, has been missing without a trace. There's been a conviction in the case for the murder of Jennifer, which was her husband, Michael Blagg, but Abby has not been found, no trace, and even through conviction, Michael swears innocence and doesn't know anything about the circumstances. Quick timeline. November 12th, 2001 was the last time Abby and Jennifer were seen. They were seen at the school, being picked up locally by friends and classmates and so forth. November 13th, 2001, the next day, they did not report to the school, but an unknown caller called and said Abby would not be coming to school. They still are not sure who that caller was. So Michael Blagg goes on to work that day. Everything's going as normal. He comes home from work to an empty house. There's blood in the master bedroom on the mattress and on the carpet, and his wife and his daughter are nowhere to be found. So at 4:21 p.m., he calls the police. So investigations go on, so forth. He's found guilty in 2004 of the murder of his wife. And then there was a retrial in 2018 because there was a juror who had lied on her jury questionnaire. So that kind of brings us up to date quickly about what was going on. Now, of course, there's a lot of details in the pudding here.
Oh yeah.
So let's just take a couple steps back to why the police pinpointed Michael Blagg. First of all, there's blood in the home, and statistically, the husband is the first person to get the finger pointed at him when they come up missing from the home, and as the last person who supposedly saw him sleeping in their beds.
Right.
Jennifer always laid out the clothes for Abby, and Abby's clothes were still there, suggesting that Abby was wherever she was in her pajamas.
Yeah, the strange part on that is when he did call the police, he had already been in the house. He already knows. He saw the blood and everything, but he called the police. Then he went outside to wait for the police, and they got there, and he said, "The front door is locked. I'll have to give you the keys to get inside." So why would he lock the front door? If he knew the police were coming and he was already in the house, what was going through his mind when he locked the front door?
Was it an automatic lock door? Did we,
I don't know. It could have been, but...
not locked from the inside, you can still turn the handle, but just locks?
I don't know.
Well, we drove by the house, and I didn't notice anything different about the house. It doesn't have any, extended security or anything of that nature.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing that was kind of strange to me was the Christmas presents. He had Christmas presents that he bought after they came up missing for them, supposedly.
Right.
But, he thought they were coming home.
He obviously knew Jennifer wasn't coming home with all the blood on the bed. Mm-hmm. Why would he buy Christmas presents? What was going through his mind thinking that she was going to come back with all that blood?
There was enough blood that when the police immediately seized the home, They cut a portion out of the mattress and out of the carpet, and it positively identified as Jennifer's blood. So with that amount of blood, she wasn't alive. They immediately thought foul play.
Right.
They immediately didn't think she had just ran away, gone with friends or family, or escaped. So on the outside, this was a good, devout Christian family. He was a blue-collar worker. He loved his wife and loved his daughter, and everything in their life was going perfect, and they were renting this beautiful home in a wealthier neighborhood in the town.
But he had an addiction to porn. And so deep that he was going to the massage parlor, topless massage parlor, 3 times a week. That's how deep he was into it. So he really fooled everyone with his Christianity, didn't he?
Yeah. So he admitted that he had an addiction, a porn addiction. He admitted to that. He did try to muddle some stuff and say that, they were struggling in their marriage because of his porn addiction, and that they were looking at the porn together to fix some sexual situations in their marriage. However, Jennifer was a devout Christian, and she grew up a devout Christian. Her parents were devout Christians.
She wouldn't do that.
She worked at the Christian school.
Mm-hmm.
She worked in her church. So I believe appearances on the outside for her were absolutely transparent. That is who she was. That's exactly how she was. Michael Blagg, on the other hand, struggled to maintain the farce of that lifestyle, of that life. And I believe that his chickens were coming home to roost is what was going on. And that's
right.
where the anger and the fighting and the embarrassment really for her, that the embarrassment that she's lived this good Christian life and then to be confronted with her partner in life, living something that she considered foul.
What I heard is that she found a box of stuff in their closet. So maybe it was a box of photos or, and it even kind of makes me wonder, was Abby being sexually abused by him? I mean, for as deep as he was into the porn. I mean, there's always a possibility, but I do know that whatever it was, Jennifer went to the courthouse wanting to see an attorney, wanting to get a divorce as soon as possible. And this was just a couple days before she was murdered. So what was it? What was so all of a sudden happened to cause her to want to go and get a divorce right away?
And those are questions we might not know for a little while. I do know that she was part of an urgent prayer group at her church, and they filled out urgent prayer requests and submitted those into a prayer box at their church. And she was part of the emergency call tree, you would say, for that situation. But in her home, they found an urgent prayer request from her for prayer for her family and her personal life. So something was going on that she wasn't talking to everybody about, obviously.
Right.
There was some allegations of abuse from earlier on in their life. And they hadn't lived in Grand Junction for very long either.
Mm-hmm.
They had moved there from North Carolina, so they were just becoming part of the community. So if this was something that, I know she was like going to Jazzercise, and she was really trying to, make friends and be part of this community. So the embarrassment of his activities in this new community for her was probably pretty traumatizing. And I have a feeling that is what she was reaching out for, that her initial reaction was, I have to divorce him. Things aren't getting better, but something that tragic. I mean, she
right
found
away,
something out.
Something where she felt like she needed to get out.
Right. So that brings us up to then all of a sudden she's found in a landfill and he's nowhere to be found. Well, they seized the home immediately. When they turned the home back over to him, he had church members help him pack and move out of the home. And what about his demeanor when he was moving was odd.
They said, who's that guy? What's his name?
Richard Miller?
Richard Miller. Sorry, you guys. Go ahead and talk.
Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller, that he went to church with Mr. Miller, so he was a fellow congregate there at the church. He came over to help him move, and they were packing up some boxes and moving some things out. And Mr. Miller said that his behavior was odd and his statements were odd, that when he answered the door, he greeted him with, "Do you want to come in and see the crime scene?" Where they had apparently, you know, cut the piece of mattress out. He took him to the master bedroom where
Right,
the
he
carpet
did.
was, and where and he kind of made it like, come see what the spectacle is.
Like he was bragging,
Yeah.
almost about what he had done.
Mr. Miller said that it was just kind of odd, right?
Yeah,
Like,
he said that he didn't show any emotions when he was down there showing him the crime scene.
and this is the place where the last place that his wife would have been with no answers after that. I mean, it's not something
It was very.
So his
So-
demeanor was odd about it first, and then so he moves out, right? And then he goes to a new home in January in Grand Junction, and then what happens at work?
Oh, then he steals the
Shredder.
shredder and the table, but this, and everyone's thinking, oh, the shredder and the table. What was he doing with that? You have to remember, this is a year after.
No, it's just a few months after,
Oh,
because she disappeared in November, and then he was fired by February, so it had to have happened sometime between November and February.
oh, okay. But Jennifer was already gone, so obviously he was using that for.
Well, where's the evidence of whatever was in the closet that she found? Supposedly found a box of pictures or something in the closet. Where was that? Where'd that go?
I'm not sure. I haven't read anything about that.
See, I believe that, you know, he stashed some stuff, and when they turned the house back to him, he got whatever it was and immediately destroyed evidence. But the only way he could do it was to steal that shredder and the table, and he had to do it immediately because he was going to be moving out of that house immediately. So when they turned the house back over to him, what was in there that he felt was going to be, what did he destroy?
I'm sure he was destroying evidence. And again,
Something the police did not find.
that could be evidence of pictures. They did take his computer, so he couldn't have, done anything with that. Or it could have been connections that he had with the porn, the people, connections with people that he didn't want them to find out about. Or he could have had, if Abby was being molested by him, he could have had pictures of Abby. And I'll tell you what, if my kids were molested by their father and I found pictures of that, you bet I would be down the next day going to looking for an attorney and saying, hey, I need a divorce right away.
Yep.
I'm just getting chills just saying that. It's just, all
Yeah.
the way down my body, I am getting chills.
So again, guys, just remember these are theories about the situation, and we have no concrete evidence that Michael was in fact doing anything with Abby, to Abby, harming her in any way. But it's a feeling, and it's a possibility, and it connects dots that haven't been connected.
Like, I kind of still feel, even some people might disagree, but I feel like it was premeditated. And the reason why I say that is because he called the school, or somebody called the school the day
And
before
said
they were missing.
No, that morning.
Oh, that morning?
That morning, and said she wouldn't be there. Yeah. Because she was picked up the day before, after school, by her mother.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But the reason we're bringing this up, and they're saying that there's some dots that could be connected that haven't been connected previously. He went back to retrial, I mentioned earlier, in 2018. And there was an FBI agent that came forward and said that in 2015 there had been an investigation, and they had busted a man by the name of Phillips Bruinsma for child pornography. And
he's the B name. In all the records, they always say the Mr. B. So this is his real name. It was Philip.
Bruinsma.
Right.
So he was busted with these pornographic videos of children, and he had an accomplice who edited them, and her name is Brittany Stout. They're both in prison right now, but Brittany went down for editing these videos. For some reason, the FBI agent tied this gentleman and his crimes to Abby Blagg and said that there was evidence that he was targeting them as a victim. So whatever that evidence was, the judge didn't buy it. It was thrown out, and Michael Blagg was found guilty of murdering Jennifer again. However, my mindset on that whole connection there is, if Michael Blagg was a child predator and was preying on his own child, and he friended this gentleman who was a child predator as well. Now, this FBI agent believes that this child predator that they've arrested, that he killed Jennifer, kidnapped Abby, and sex trafficked her. That's what he believed. The FBI agent testified he believed happened. So that's what throws a kink in this wheel. So with that being said, if Michael had this porn addiction, which we've already verified, that's fact, and out of his own mouth said he had a porn addiction, how far did that addiction go and what did it entail? Because the subject of his addiction doesn't go into context. Doesn't say that they found child pornography. It doesn't say that they found...
They said he had like 17,000 documents of pornography. Now that's pretty deep.
That is pretty deep. So this other gentleman that the FBI has testified is tied to the situation. My theory is that he may have targeted Abby. He may have targeted Abby. He may have came in to get Abby. If we're gonna buy that Michael's story, which by the way, in his new trial, he finally did testify, which he wouldn't before, but he still recounted the same tale.
Right.
17 years later.
Right.
That he went to work and he came home to the blood and he has no idea what's going on. But when they found her body in the landfill and they traced it back, by the way, if you guys don't know, landfills are gridded. So every area that's dumped into in a landfill, they know where it came from and what date it got there.
Okay, I want to stop you there though. When they found Jennifer's body in the landfill, they said that her body was not next to his work
Dumpster?
paperwork. They did not find her body next to that. It was in the dump, but not next to that.
Really? Because the stuff that I read was that the original investigator said it was.
Yeah, I know.
So the lady that took over in 2005, her reports say it's not.
It's not.
I did read that they found Home Depot paperwork.
Let's see here. Do we have
And
that
he
one?
didn't work at Home Depot, guys, or buy it.
Yeah, so they were
So if
they
we were
were
to
thinking,
buy that his story, that he's innocent and that this man had something to do with it, it's still pretty obvious that he had something to do with this. He knows. So this man may have targeted his daughter, his wife. The new investigator that took over in 2005
right,
said that there were scuff marks on the fence
on the fence.
and tire tracks on the road beside the house.
And we drove back there, of course. There's a new fence up, and
a house has been built where the road currently was beside it.
right.
There's not a road there now. It's a full on.
Well, and we have pictures. We'll show pictures in this video. We'll try to slice them in so you can see part of our. We went down the road for, what was it called? What's that road? Little
Cactus Park Road? No,
something.
Little Park Road.
Little Park Road. Okay, because someone had mentioned that a lady saw his car down Little Park Road. So we thought, well, let's get in the car and let's go down there. And
We're talking about a very small window to make both of them disappear, so it couldn't be far from where the home is. There's of course mileage records and gas records that the police have. They've gotten much more in depth, but we're talking about a 22-mile window here. So a 22-mile radius from the home, basically, is what we're talking. because that would be round trip. It was like 44 miles, right?
Right.
So, a place that they used to go to up Little Park Road, a woman said that she saw his car there during this time frame, which would have been between midnight and 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Which I'm questioning that 100% because it's the middle of the night. Number one, how are you going to be able to pick out one vehicle on that road, that dark, curvy road going uphill? And how are you going to pinpoint that it is, in fact, a gentleman driving it?
Right. So when we went down there, we went with the Delta Colorado Paranormal, and we had some of our equipment with us, a K2, a voice recorder. We did some EVPs, seeing if we could be led to the site of where maybe Abby was. I mean, it's just something that they probably did not do when they were investigating. And it was crazy. The K2 was going crazy.
How did we come up with this maybe Abby's, the site where Abby is? How did we come up with that?
Just the fact that the car.
The 22-mile radius.
Right.
And that this was an area that they frequented.
And it was such a big area. I mean, really, if you look at it, it's a large area. I'm sure the police did not. I didn't see anywhere where they actually searched.
And there was tons of pull-off areas. The terrain is... So there's a theory. There's a theory that he would have taken her somewhere and buried her where he could visit her later, where she would be laid to rest and at peace. That's not the same respect that was shown to Jennifer.
Right. Well, because Jennifer was a bad apple in his eye. You know, she found out his deepest secrets, you know,
And he couldn't let that get out. He had a blue-collar life.
And if, you know, she went to church or told the church members, or his life would just have been a big embarrassment.
Right.
So he didn't really care about Jennifer at that point. That's why he just trashed her. But Abby is a different story. And that's who we really need to focus on, is Abby. So when we went down to this place, we were trying to search for Abby. And like I said, the K2 is going off a lot. We were talking, asking questions, and one particular question was about somehow we got the church coming up.
There was just feelings that the church was involved, and this was prior to us knowing about the gentleman that had gone in.
I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about the church going in or...
Right. And so there was just a feeling that I got about the church. There was a connection with the church and betrayal. So I just got the feeling that there was and betrayal to Jennifer is what I was feeling, that there was some betrayal to Jennifer and something with the church. So in my mind, I'm thinking maybe he had an affair with a woman at the church, maybe there was a friend involved, but we asked those questions.
Right.
And it wasn't, we weren't directed to an affair or any kind of a romantic situation through the church, but it was help from the church or a church member.
Right. So I also want to just say, Rick, if you're out there, if you see this, if you remember anything odd, anything that Michael said when he was taking you downstairs, showing you the crime scene, to reach out to us. Any little bit of information, the church, if you knew that Michael was having an affair or he was a little close to a certain woman at church, you know, reach out to us, because this is all about Abby now.
We just want to find what's happened to Abby. If she's passed, you know, there's a whole community still grieving outside of family and close friends that knew this family. An entire community has invested themselves in caring and loving Abby and wanting her to be found, brought home, or laid to rest in a great manner. So quickly on this topic of going out Little Park Road and the feelings that we got there, just and the theory along the line of he would bury Abby in a special place. This was a special place that they rode bikes.
Right.
It's a place everybody rides bikes. So It made him feel part of the community. It would have been a special place. So we're going to show you a little bit of that video of our adventure out to this area that is theorized as the Blagg family special place.
Right.
So check this out.
Hi guys.
Hey!
We're with the missing. We're doing a segment on Abby Blagg. We are here at Little Park Road. It was mentioned that someone saw Michael's car on Little Park Road. So we felt that we would drive down this road. We have a team with the Delta Colorado Paranormal and some equipment. Maybe we can get some kind of hit off of a K2. Maybe they can lead us if she is on this road. Maybe they can lead us to where she's at. We're going to give it a try.
And we're going to take all of you guys on the journey with us and let you guys experience.
Oh, and I'm Cynthia.
I'm Katina.
We're your hosts. All right.
And welcome to the missing.
If we find something, we'll let you know. We'll stop and do some more.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Okay, so here we are at Little Park Road Bentonite site, and the K2 just started going crazy, so we pulled over here. There's nothing around to be making that happen as we've checked out along the way, so we are going to check out this little site here and just see what kind of interactions we can get. Still getting some K2. So, we'll see you guys soon. All right, guys, so thanks for joining us out there in the field. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the darker side of this situation that kind of ties into a few other cases and what really is bringing more and more interest to this case itself and the theory of the gentleman that was tied with a sex trafficking situation that may have victimized them.
Right.
So we spoke about Michael going to a massage parlor, the same massage parlor, right? 3 times, up to 3 times a week.
And then also going to some of the girls' homes.
Oh, so he had private sessions with the massage therapist too.
And that comes to question, we were getting a lot of hits on the way down that little road.
At houses.
At houses. So we were wondering, is someone that he went to go get
Help from a member of something?
a member, or maybe he was getting private massage from someone that lived in that area. But that for sure came up. So
Yeah, so it's questionable if these people that were involved in the massage parlor situation with him lived out that way
Right.
too. The massage parlor comes up quite a lot in the history of Grand Junction through this time frame. So for many years, this massage parlor was ran under the guise of an oriental massage parlor. It has been busted a few times under a couple owners, but the owner that was owning it at the time that Michael was visiting it owned it also when Paige Bergfield was working during that same time frame. Also, and this was years
Right.
later too, when he, that she still owned it. Time went on. It was something like 18 years that she owned it or something. She finally got busted for prostitution and sex trafficking. There was no pedophilia charges tied to that, but just the whole sex trafficking, sex work was tied to the place that he was known to be visiting, and then many other places where people were tied into this through crimes in
Right.
the Grand Junction area over that 18-year spread that she owned that parlor.
Right. Didn't you say one of the girls that worked for Paige also works at the same massage parlor that Michael Blagg visited?
Yes.
So then my gears started going. Well, I had thought of this before we even found any of this information out. I was thinking, when I heard that Michael went to the massage parlor, I was thinking, I wonder if that girl that worked for Paige works at the same massage parlor because, you know, Paige was murdered and it was because of sex.
Of her escort service.
Escort
Models
service. Models Inc., right? And I was wondering if maybe there was a connection because Paige, the girl that worked for Paige, called Paige's ex-husband, her kid's father. And
Paige is Paige Bergfield,
Bergfield.
who was mother of 3, came up missing from Grand Junction, and she, her remains were found 9 years later. 9
Right.
years later.
Which goes to show you guys, everyone says, well, why can't the police put charges on these people right away? Because
There's no evidence.
sometimes it takes 7 or 8 years before they can actually put a charge on. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. So just to touch base, Paige Bergfield, and she moonlighted as an escort, and she had her own business. This is also tied in with the sex trafficking business that Michael Blagg was frequenting, and the people that worked there. And her co-worker also worked for this Oriental massage place. Ironically, more recently looked up said co-worker of hers, and she is still running an escort service online through 3 separate websites in Grand Junction area with over 300 girls.
And where did she get the money to do that?
And then there was also, after they busted the lady that had it for 18 years, the massage parlor is still open to this day, by the way, guys. It has different owners. Well, then, more recently, 2018, they busted them again. And then we had another bust here just in 2020, more Oriental, owning 3 other massage parlors in Grand Junction now. And they were transporting sex workers from
Out of the country.
out of the country. So it was even international sex trafficking.
Right.
Right there in Grand Junction. So it's a huge situation that's going on. So this theory, now that we know all this from the FBI agent, doesn't seem so far-fetched. However, there's still all this evidence that Michael Blagg was tied to it. So whether he personally killed his wife and daughter, or whether he was tied to people who decided to victimize his wife, he was still responsible.
And I still think there's a connection there. I mean, obviously, Paige got murdered. Lester was put in prison, charged with it. Who's to say that this girl, and she called her ex-husband, and who's to say that she didn't get buddied up, or her ex-husband said, you know, hey, I'll give you part of the insurance money if you put this together and have my wife Paige murdered. And who's to say she didn't do the same thing with Michael and having Jennifer murdered
Right.
for money?
And maybe
I am
that
just-
was the plan, to have Jennifer murdered, but he did not plan on his daughter being
I
kidnapped.
swear to God, I am goosebumps
Right.
all the way.
I
talking about
believe
this.
Michael set it up that way and planned on coming home to a dead wife and a daughter home. I don't believe he meant for Abby to disappear in this circumstance. That's my theory. Again, my theory. The only reason why I'm still holding that theory is because there was a gentleman on the run from the law. He was running a drug run from Pennsylvania through to Utah. Came through Colorado, went on through to Utah. Again, this guy's strung out and he's running a drug run. He's with his girlfriend. He stops at a gas station and he said that he saw somebody that resembled Abby Blagg. He believed that she was distraught and that she was with captors. That is what he told the police after he was apprehended.
Right.
Now he's strung out, so the credibility is not so great. His girlfriend said that that was not 100% true. That yes, they did see a girl with the same description, but she did not view her as distressed or distraught in any way. So she wasn't sure that it was Abby, but that they had discussed that it could have possibly been Abby, and it was kind of strange to them. But again, they were strung out. Did they really see what they saw? But they weren't going to be a credible witness regardless because of their
Right.
lifestyle.
Right.
But guys, what if they really did see Abby? And what if she really was sex trafficked and on her way to, where did they find that gentleman? In Montana? Wyoming?
Wyoming. I think.
Wyoming. Wyoming.
because the other guy was from Montana.
So what if there is some credibility to that story?
And with the fence, the scuff marks, and the tire marks behind the fence that they had found.
So it could have been just one person that pulled right up to the fence, ran in, got the body, dumped it over into the back of a truck or something. You know, it could have been just one person, but the likelihood is that two people at least were involved.
Yeah, I think at least two people
Yeah.
were involved. I don't think Michael did this all on his own.
There's just no way in that 4 hours that nobody saw anything happen except this lady who swore she saw his car out Little Park Road in the middle of the night.
Right.
Which, guys, I have a theory about that too. This woman who called and said that she saw the car out in the middle of the night, what if it's the person that was involved and she just wanted Abby to be found? Because there's not been any more contact with her, and it just doesn't seem plausible that you would be able to pick out a car and a person in the middle of the night and on a mountain road.
Or she wanted to make sure that Michael went to jail for the crime. Just like
That there was answers.
Just like with Lester. You know, and then finding the car being lit right by his job, the gas can sitting right next to his desk.
Paige's bra in his toolbox.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
It all seems kind of planted, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does. And this is kind of like what it's kind of that girl that you're talking about.
Yeah,
I
the
think-
acquaintance of Paige, who also happened to be a sex worker that Michael visited the same employment.
Right.
And-
So I'm
yeah.
thinking maybe the police should really be, if not the police, but Michael Blagg's defense team should be checking up on where these girls lived. If they lived in that area off of the Little
Park Road.
Road.
Well, it actually took us even more pinpointed down Cactus Road. So Little
Oh.
Park Road, then our equipment pinpointed us to turn and go up Cactus Road. And Cactus Road, it had new development there, so I feel like if something was buried there or somebody had been buried there, they would have found it in the new development, but something there on Cactus Road. So maybe that is the area that
Right.
said person lived at.
And I also wanted to make a comment to the people that now own the Blagg's home. When I was doing the EVP, I got flower box. So I'm not sure if maybe he hid the weapon or hid something in a flower box, maybe in the back of your yard, a planter, a flower bed maybe, to take a metal detector or something and see if you can find something, because I did get that.
And when we went by the residence, there was a tree out front that was still there that had been planted there when they had moved in there, and the tree is still there as well as all the flower bed around it.
Right.
So that's not been touched. I urge you to maybe look there. We would love to help you if you want to reach out to us.
Exactly.
We have metal detectors as well, and we would love to come. Just not tear up your land, but
just go over
just go over with the metal detector and
and
see
see.
if we see anything.
You never know. So I think that's a pretty good session with Abby, and
If you guys have any information, reach out to us. Like, comment, share this video with all of our community members. We'd really like to get some answers and just kind of help bring this case to a close and find Abby, bring her home in whatever manner that may be. Just bring closure to this.
yeah, and or over the years, if you've something just keeps coming to the back of your head, thinking that was pretty odd or that was strange, or you thought you heard something but you didn't think it was important to say, any little tidbit helps. Just reach out to us and we will do our best. If it means going back down Little
Park Road.
Road, we will do that. We will go back out there on foot again and check things out.
Absolutely.
So
All right. Thanks, guys, for watching the first episode of The Missing, and find us again here on our YouTube channel.
And
Have a great-
give us your input too, because we'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. Stay safe out there. We'll see you soon. Hi, this is Philip Brunsma. If you saw him in November 2001, please contact us. This is Abby Blagg and what she's considered to look like today. This is Jennifer and Abby Blagg as 6 years